I'm wearing my jacket, but boss said I'm still too cold. Man, I fucked your bitch, she feel that from her head to toes. I need this guap, I couldn't care about my wrist and froze. Tryna hit that belly like home, and now your girlfriend wanna whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hi and welcome to the Stay in Place podcast. I am here with my friend Onda, and I'm also here with a special guest, a former Manchester United and West Ham striker, David Bellion. It's a pleasure to have you on Stay in Place. How are you?
I'm fine, and you? How are you? Thank you very much for inviting me in your podcast.
Thank you for accepting.
Yeah,
No
David, honestly, it's an honor to be in your presence right now. As a Man United fan, it's a dream of mine to meet someone like yourself. I mean, you've lived every boy's dream, playing for a precious club like Manchester United. Obviously, this has been in the works for a couple of weeks now, but finally we're here, and we thank you for that.
Well, it's an honor as well to share a bit of experience. I always like to share discussion, so the honor is shared. It's the same for me.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to start off by asking you a bit about your personal career and how you got into football. So the question is, tell us a bit about your childhood and how you got into football.
Well, what I recall is that I know that the first pictures that I saw when I was maybe 3 years old or 4 years old, my parents were already separated. So I grew up with my mother and my stepfather because my father stayed in Paris while my mother went with me on my own, and she moved to south of France in Cannes. And then obviously she met someone else, and he was like my stepfather. But I remember that the few pictures that my father showed me when I saw him again, I already had the football, I was kicking footballs, you know, like any kids maybe. But I know that where I grew up in Cannes, even if I'm from Paris, there used to be like a handball ground next to the seashore, where we used to play a lot with one of my very childhood friends called Rashid. And also at school, I mean, I was obsessed with the football like many players, but I think I was more of a, you know, everybody's passionate. I think I was obsessional. I mean, I couldn't live without, and I just knew somehow, I knew how to play with the football very, very young. I knew how to do some skills.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not saying that I was better, but I can see that I knew how to control the ball in a different way that the same players of my age. So I understood quite quick that I was good in football. So the thing is, I was maybe 6, 7, and I know that when I was 8 years old, so it was maybe I was 8, the 27th November of 1990, and I always push my mom, trying to say to my mom, please, put me in a football club. So the football club in France, which was maybe similar to United of the class of Scorsese and Giggsy and stuff. Cannes, you have Zinedine Zidane, Patrick Vieira, Gaël Clichy, Johan Mikou. You have so many players, and then I was starting as a beginner, débutant. And then as soon as I started my career, I remember that it was, I think, a Wednesday, 9th of January, 1991. I signed my license to be in Cannes, but the beginning of the season, so when you came, my mom had not so much money, and at the time, the license cost £35. Back in 1991, we didn't have £35. At some point, because I was good at school, my mom paid it to me. So I arrived 4 months late. And then the very first official game I played, it was with the 8th team. It was not the A team, the B team. It was the 8th division of my team, because my first game I scored 6 goals. So and I scored 8 goals. They moved me in the first team, and I won first tournament best player, second tournament best player, and then in 6 months I scored 70 goals. And then from now on, from Cannes, the professional, they just say, oh, we have that young kid, and they watch me growing. 2 years after, I was in what we call the sports and study. So I arrived in the college where you do school in the morning and play football in the afternoon. So I had a fantastic childhood, because from I started football every day of my life until I stopped my career in 2016. I was doing school in the morning and at 2:30 football, then academy. So that's how I did it. I was just playing football all the time. But the football that I loved the most was the street football. I never liked the rules. I hate rules. So when I was doing street football, it gave me the skills to do it in a normal football with the team. I didn't like the rules when I was a kid. I didn't know what was offside for 2 or 3 years. So when I was a kid, I was always offside, and I didn't understand what does it mean. But I didn't really care, and I just thought, I think I'm too embarrassed to ask because I'm always saying offside. And at the time, I didn't know how to, what is offside? So that was funny because I really didn't care about the rules. I didn't care to keep my position on the pitch. I was always number 10, but I was running everywhere. I was scoring goals a lot. I used to win a lot of best player in tournament. So very quick, I kind of like, I walked the step very fast, you know. Yeah. Instead of doing one step after the other, everything went super fast. So that's how I became professional really young. I arrived Sunday. I arrived in Manchester, which was kind of very rare with Cristiano, because normally they take kids from the academy, but they never take very super young player. So everything went fast because I was really obsessed. I'm obsessed personality. I'm not ambitious. I'm just obsessional, compulsive disorder. Honestly, I have that. Yeah. And I think football for me is obsessional compulsive disorder. So I just wanted to know my dream was to play for Manchester when I was a kid in a pyjama on my home, and I just said I will play there. And I know I was not worried to fail. I knew I was not going to fail because of obsession. It was just like, it's just, I was sleeping with my new football boots. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a weirdo with football. I could just never thought I was a weirdo because I was just football, but not obsessional. It was not ambitious, never ambitious to do more than just, my dream was to play with Ryan Giggs. So I just thought I will play with Ryan Giggs. That was just my obsession. Yeah.
And how was it like playing with the likes of Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes? Obviously, I've seen the goal you scored against Tottenham, and playing around Ronaldo, and just, yeah, how was it like playing around with all these big stars at Manchester United?
I don't know, because I never felt when I was the best. If I'm telling you now, I'm bringing back my memories when I started at Manchester. The very first time I started, I never thought I was in a dream. I just thought, now enjoy it because you play with the best player in the world. So the feeling of training every day in a level of football that I wanted to, where you have Juan Sebastian Veron, Cristiano was not a star at the beginning, was really young, but for me, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, the people I was seeing in Veron, they were the player I was seeing when I was a teenager. So when Wayne Rooney came, Cristiano Ronaldo, I was happy, but for me, they were young, great players. But to play with Veron, I mean, it's like the super elegant player, or Ryan Giggs. I loved it. And what I liked the most about football was not so much the victory or the performance. It was just the lifestyle in the dressing room, the training, the banter, the laugh. I mean, my reminiscence of my football career is more based on human relationship than what I did on the pitch or what I didn't do on the pitch. For me, this is like a certain part of my life that sometimes I completely forget that I was on a football pitch, but I just remember all the fun, all the enjoyment, all the skills, that's what I remember, because they were all very humble players. You know, you got to a point where they're such great stars, but they were the coolest player. And when you are alone, sometimes very frustrated, they always say, why this player is at Manchester, or why this one play, I can play. But when you are on top, they never like that, the players. Very, very football-oriented, performance-oriented, winners, yeah.
Talking about the fun times and obviously training, do you have any stories from training, or any dressing room antiques, or And also, I want to find out a bit about the Sir Alex Ferguson hair dry treatment, if it's actually like a real thing, whether he has like rants at players. So if you want to like give us a bit of information about that.
Yeah, well, the first time I mean, the gaffer, when you used to train, when you used to be in private, he was like a father, you know. He never destroy his players on the media, always protect them in front of the media. After, when you're inside, if you play bad, he's got a hard temper. But it's not a hard temper based on just time. He's kind of like justified because he's got such a high expectation of level of football that I think the victory, I'm not saying it's secondary to him, but I remember one day we played against Charlton, we won 2-0, and I played the game, which was rare. But no, I think it was Blackburn one day we won 3-1 and Charlton 2-0. The game was not so beautiful and he was really angry. But the very first time I saw him with a lot of anger was, I think, when we played the first Champions League game in 2003 against Stuttgart, or I don't know what the other team. I always, Cristiano used to play, a great player, German player, fantastic. And then we were losing 1-0 or 2-0 at halftime. At halftime, he screamed like, screaming, and I was like, wow. And I was just young and was screaming because we are playing really bad. But yeah, it was the very first experience. After some stories about the dressing room, I have one that is really funny. Is like there were always a Christmas party where the Christmas party was based in the. You have everyone's coming, the technical staff, all the secretary people, like the administration people, the youth, the players, everybody's involved. So, you know, it can fit maybe 150, 200 people, I don't know. So every Christmas party, the youth academy, they doing like a little stage show, like a Broadway show, where they impersonate every player, but like their own personality. But they have no mercy. There's no mercy. It's like, no mercy. Like they mock you. Savage, like Ricky Gervais. You know Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. Yeah.
And then, so I'm not gonna speak about a few because I know that they were really upset. But me, I have a good sense of humor about myself. You know, it's fine. And I'm very into fashion, and I have I used to have a very strange, unique sense of fashion. So. I used to always wear like strange color, or like I used to have like Yohji Yamamoto, Comme des Garçons, very super edgy fashion. And then there was a player that was just wearing normal stuff. So whenever I was coming in the dressing room, everybody was mocking me and Cristiano, mock everyone as well. So we used to mock everyone as well. And then when they were the Christmas party, so you have like two kids that have the microphone and they do like a X Factor kind of how do you say antenne deck? You know antenne deck?
Yeah, antenne deck.
Yeah, antenne deck.
Presenters, yeah.
So there's a two use a guy. They have like papier mâché head, like fake papier mâché head. You know, like carnival head in like cardbox, and the microphone. And each time they impersonate Ferdinand, Cristiano, Tim Howard, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Wayne Rooney. I mean, Ferguson, because it is crazy. When he turns to me, the guy, there's a kid that was half caste like me, like very light brown skin. I think he was Danny Simpson. You remember Danny Simpson?
Oh, Danny Simpson, right back.
Yeah. I think Danny Simpson impersonate me, I think. And then when it was my turn, you have to understand. And then you hear, and now David Bellion, you know, and you hear YMCA song, Village People.
Yeah,
you know? And then everybody laughed because they always thought they thought I was wearing clothes like very feminine and stuff. And then the guy came with like a pink kind of juicy couture. like crop top, velvet thing, and like dancing in a very feminine way. But I'm fine because I like to laugh. I like to be roast.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this. I like to roast people. So everybody crying their eyes out. So what I'm saying is I'm fine and I'm cool. But some player that they impersonate, they went that far. The player lost it. They lost it in front of everyone because they were mocking sometimes the physics or they were mocking a style. So that was really funny. I mean, I really thought that was really funny. Then after is also, how do you say bisutage in English? Like sometimes when a young kid come to the professional for the first time, like it's his first training, he needs to do, in French we say bisutage.
Impress.
Initiation. He needs to do something.
Initiation song. Yeah. They stand up and start singing. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did, they took two guys. They put them in a dressing room. I don't remember. It must be Rio. That either Quinton Fortune or Rio or Wes Brown. I mean, there was a cool vibe, and they bring the two kids. They bring the two kids on the big white table that is in the middle of the dressing room, where normally you put, where you have the masseuse, where you put like the dirty clothes in the basket and stuff, and they put them on the table, and they just say, pretend that seduce a girl in a nightclub. So it's just like stupid music, and they were just dancing like that, like they were in a nightclub. It's just like Phoenix Night, like something very, very. Is it Phoenix Night, the Peter Kay stuff? Like the social club, Phoenix Night? In the web, that's what I can say as souvenir. One of also the souvenir that I have, I think, is the sense of humor of Roy Keane. Roy Keane is like, the sense of humor is super dark, super dry.
I can imagine.
I mean, I love Ricky Gervais' sense of humor, and Roy Keane is a savage. And then what is on the pitch is completely the opposite in the dressing room. He just destroy everyone. And the thing is, I'm a destroyer too. I was young, but I love to destroy. Rio, Quinton Fortune, Wes Brown, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs. They were like some guys that were more professional, more experienced, but they either have too much, like they're too sensitive, or sometimes maybe the sense of humor is normal, but the sense of humor in the club was really, really crazy, really crazy. But Roy Keane was just like a genius sense of humor.
Yeah. Tremendous footballer.
And you can even see it now, because sometimes as a pundit, sometimes the things he says is completely like
he says it as it is.
He's like the best, weirdest sense of humor. Yeah, I used to love his sense of humor. Yeah.
And would you say like what would you say he brought to the team? Did he bring like that winning mentality to the team as well?
He's the best natural captain I've ever seen. I don't think you can have like captain like this everywhere. Maybe at the time you had maybe Baresi. Franco Baresi was like the legend of the 90s. But Roy Keane, Alex Ferguson didn't even have to say some stuff sometimes. He knew on the pitch, he was shouting when he was. He was never a shout to humiliate you. It was just for the kids, he was getting into us like to try the handle of football. He was natural leader. Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah. While we were on the subject of Cristiano Ronaldo, playing the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Giggs, Scholes, I just want to ask one specific question. Did you think Cristiano Ronaldo would go on to achieve what he achieved? Like, obviously, you were with him when he first arrived at the club. Like, did you see him like progressing into the player that he is today?
As a potential, yes. But at the very beginning, what he used to do in training was not what he used to do in a game, because you cannot pass Roy Ferdinand, Rio, or Michael Silvestre, or Gabriel Heinze, or I don't know. You cannot make some skills like you do with another Premier League team that was maybe less good. You cannot do that. But the potential, yes, because he never stopped. And then where you can see the difference is like at the beginning of the training, he was there before everyone else, starting already to do some fitness for training. as a young guy to be so performing all the time, so constant was impressive. And after the training, he was staying 1 hour alone with when everybody had a shower. He was also, he's one of the legends of football history. Not all. He's a beast. He's a robot.
Yeah.
How was the transition from France to Sunderland for you?
And my mother were already separated. So I was living with my mother at my mom's place. And then when I moved to Sunderland, I wasn't really adventurous. A Saturday, it was a Saturday, 7th of July, 2001. To call my father many times between Tuesday or Monday. I don't know if it was Monday the 3rd or Monday the 2nd or Tuesday the 3rd that I saw him. I saw him. Then I tried to call him to say bye-bye, because I was with my mom. I wanted to say bye-bye. He was not reaching, he was not returning my call. So when I took my plane, I just say bye-bye to my mother, but my mom, as an only child, I'm not someone that is very, I'm not like clingy to my mother or my father. I'm not like that. I like sometimes, how do you say that? Being on my own, it's fine. So I was not scared of going in England. Is that I left on Saturday. I did my first training with the professional club Sunderland on Monday morning. I did my little sleep in the afternoon. Someone called me in my sleep and my stepfather killed himself. So it was very brutal because I tried to call him from the last time I saw him to Saturday. He was not returning my call. So I called my mom. I said, that's weird, trying to investigate because I don't know why. And then I found out on Monday afternoon that he hanged himself. So I had to take a plane. I don't know how I take a plane because when I found out, I was such in a total shock. That's where my friend Baki Mersimek, the Turkish friend, came in because he saw me getting out of the guest house with the bed and breakfast where we used to stay. So much in shock that it was the first time, the first person I told, it was him. I just knew him from 24 hours, actually, 48 hours. And the first thing he told me is that he lost his father in Turkey as well. His father died in a very strange manner in the, how do you call it? In the Bosphorus, I think. They found him in a river, in the Bosphorus, the river of Istanbul. So I don't know, I found really close to him, emotionally speaking, when he told me. So the doctor of Sunderland came to the guest house. He put tablets in my how do you say, coffee latte or whatever. I don't remember, but what I remember is I woke up and then they put me on a plane to try to understand what went on. So as soon as I arrived, I was back in the south of France to try to investigate why my stepfather died. And then so it was just like I was only 18. So it was very, very traumatizing to do all that because I had to go back to the apartment where he died to try to find some clue because we have no clue why he did this. So it was very difficult because I stayed 4 or 5 days there. And I went to bury him the Saturday after in the northeast of France, where he used to come from. Then I went back to south of France on the Sunday. I was exhausted. And Sunderland was doing the pre-season in France. That was the coincidence. The pre-season was in north of France, really in Le Touquet. It's almost facing Dover, okay. It's almost there on the north of France. So I knew that all the players found out about why I wasn't there. So the player of Sunderland really was really nice to me. My agent was very good friend with the coach at the time, Peter Reid. So I think they treated me like, everybody was very close, very nice to me, trying to get me back because it was terrible. But I was on the football pitch straight away. I didn't want to go to like being crazy or depression. So I went straight there. Everybody helped me from the administration to the coach, to the players. And I was in a very nice bed and breakfast. A woman called Karen and his family used to take care of me. But it's fine because I love to adapt myself. I used to love to learn English. I was good in English in school in France. So I trying to pick up the language very quick because in north of England, the accent is very complicated. Then the adaptation was fantastic. Honestly, I didn't have problem. I didn't really miss south of France, but I was really happy when we had the day off to take quicker plane and go in the south of France, see my friend. So I used to go a lot in the south of France in Cannes, see my friends, or sometime in Paris to see my father and my friends in Paris, because I'm based between Paris and south of France. And then my friends from Paris or south of France used to come to my apartment when I bought my apartment a lot. So honestly, I didn't have so much difficulty. It was a time where we used to play a lot of video game. At the time, what is FIFA now, at the time was Pro Evolution Soccer 20 years ago. It was the best game. So we used to do a lot of training, going to the club after a game, and then playing a lot of time PlayStation. I had a nice apartment. I enjoyed my life. You have to understand, I was only 18, so I was just enjoying my life. When you're 18, you're full of energy. You used to go to training a lot. When it was weekend day, after the game, we used to go out a lot. I was just a bit wild, young and wild, but not crazy. Just young and wild and enjoying my life with my friends and playing really a street football on the football pitch. I could not play tactical professional football. I was scouted by a lot of big clubs straight away because I was just playing street football. I really had no rule in my head, just trying to skills everyone, dribble everyone, and then trying to pass the ball or shoot. That was what I loved the best, So when you're young, you're a bit, you wild in your football, but I think that is really good. That's what is really good, to stay wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, while we're on the subject of England, I want to ask you a quick question about, do you not have any career regrets? Obviously, I want to link it in with, especially with Manchester United, because I read an interview that you did a year ago where you said the reason why you didn't make it at United, you didn't make the grade at United was due to a lack of tactical awareness and focus. What do you think that was actually down to? Because obviously you had around 24 appearances and 4 goals across 2 seasons, and then you were sent on loan to West Ham, and obviously the likes of Louis Saha and Ruud van Nistelrooy and the arrival of Wayne Rooney the next season played a role in that as well. So what do you think that game time came down to?
I just think that the difference between all the players, I'm not speaking in a skill level, because skill level, if we're putting all the players in street football with no rules, this is my, that's where I feel really happy, because there's no rules. I just think that I had my brain is is a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I'm not ambitious. That I was not ambitious. Like I say, I think when I look at skill level, no problem between one or another. I know that I have a very good way of understanding football. That's why I went to a big club very quick. And that's why I could have played to a lot of big clubs, because the club wanted me. But the professional hunger for victory, that desire to win, to just being constant and speaking and thinking about football, I am zero. I cannot be like this. I can see that everybody, when they finish training, they eat football, they sing football, they watch the news of football. As soon as I was getting out of training, I was in fashion, in magazine, in books, in cinema, on my own. It was not for me. So whenever the training was finished, I was going to a cinema on my own. I met my girlfriend at the time that became my wife. But I'm very solo artist. It was not football for me. What?
Yeah. You've got a creative mindset.
Yeah, and now I work in fashion. I work in. I have a creative brand agency. I will send you the link after that. But I played football for the beauty of the skills, the beauty of making the nice pass. Like when I look at football, my kind of player is like Marco Verratti. Pastore.
Yeah.
I like players that are a bit childish in the way they play. And I don't think I fit that level of professionalism. And I remember my father, which have the same kind of, my father is an architect that does a lot of art and poetry. And one day he said, I'm sorry if in our DNA, I never gave you the gene of victory and stuff, but it's true. I'm too much of a dreamer. I was not happy to just stay and then in the afternoon just to become the best. No, I just do what I could. But I wanted to have my man's life, my human's life. I wanted to be free. I loved Manchester United because of this, the perfection of the play. But like the tactical stuff is something it's not that I didn't like it. I wanted to play simple football. I remember Rio sometime when I used to play. He just focus on just making some skills, just come back. And that's what I wanted to do. But when I look at Cristiano, that used to wake up 1 hour early to train harder 1 hour after, me, I used to come, play my football, stretch a little bit. I was not lazy. I was doing hard. I was just doing this, but my mind was already focused on, I need to watch that movie. I need to watch that magazine. My mind was already in my car trying to listening my obsession was music. So my obsession when I was in Manchester was in my car, listening all the beat makers of all the different albums of hip hop, of the new Dr. Dre beats, the new Neptune's beats, the new Timbaland beats. It was exciting me much as the training. So my brain was not in football. It was only in football when I used to come in training. After, doesn't bother me. My parents never speak about football. My friend didn't speak about football. My entourage didn't care about football. And I was really happy about that. I didn't want all that. I love football, but not enough just to be a professional. I would have loved professional with rules like that. And I loved it, but it's just like you have to be a robot, and I'm not a robot. That's it. It's not, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like I don't feel like that really is a bad thing. I feel like there's footballers nowadays, such as like Paul Pogba, that who also performs on the pitch, but likes to do what he likes to do outside of football, and he does get a lot of scrutiny for it by like pundits and punditry and stuff. But for me personally, I don't feel like people that really feel like you have to have like a robot mindset for football.
I don't care. I would never. It's my life before anything. So my life, my football, it's a piece of a puzzle of my life. That's it. It's a piece of a puzzle of a life story. I don't care. I couldn't stop myself to not watching a movie. If I want to watch the movie, I will watch the movie. Some people, some great players, they like to smoke. Some great players, they like to drink. Some great players like to have their own. Just that I didn't care to mix my personal life to football. And then when you think about Paul Pogba is still professional. Even if he does his life, he's still a professional. I didn't live my life as a professional. I trained like a professional, but my brain, it was 100% amateur. I had the brain of Sunday league football. So it was just being in the best team in the world at the time, but a brain that was not interested to be. I was just excited to play nice football. I used to love to kick the ball on the floor. It was more the artistic way of football that was interesting. I knew that anywhere I didn't want to play football until too late. I wanted to stop very early and then doing something in music or fashion. Some coach told me wherever I went in France, a lot of coaches trying to speak to me about my life. Oh, we heard that about you. Like, you like to go to restaurant. You like to do this. I opened the restaurant when I was in Bordeaux. Yeah, but you need to go in football. I said, no. I will just say, no, I do my life. It's my private life, the way I want. I don't care. I cannot see the other option that just to go and sleep football, stay in the afternoon, stretch. I did sometimes the effort. I did. Don't get me wrong. I'm not lazy. I did the effort, but not much more to love life. I like to learn about everything.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm here. You know, I don't have a problem to do a podcast with people like you, which is like, I know you're not like journalist from BBC. I don't care. I mean, I like to interact with people, learn by other people. I didn't care about that professional outlook of football.
Yeah.
Not at all.
While we're talking about obviously post football, there's a stigma of footballers like once they retire, they have to like go into managing or coaching. But obviously, after you retired in 2016, I read that you went back to Red Star. And is it true that you're the creative director at Red Star now? And also, is it true that you've got your own creative agency called Supervision Office?
Yeah. I will send you all the link before, but yes, I did. I finished my career in Red Star, which also was a part of my strange life career, because when I gave up my really high level of football, it was for biblical reason. It's just that I studied the Bible in a way that I think was the most important things in my life. And just to be more even in detail, I started to study the Bible in 2005 when I was in Manchester United. So all my life, I studied the Bible. So my outlook of football, it's like the Bible is there, football is there. It's and it will always be the case. It's more important. So just to let you know that when I, what was the question again? Sorry, I lost track.
About you being a creative director at Red Star.
Yeah, in Bordeaux. Yeah, when I finished in Bordeaux, I gave up a lot of money because I paid the freedom to be in a lower division. But the president, the chairman of Red Star, was a man that was creative, had a big creative agency, production agency, where he used to make film advertisement for Chanel, Vuitton, with like great director like Wes Anderson that did the Grand Budapest Hotel and stuff. So this is, I'm laughing because this was like the best man I could meet that owned a football club. So I did nothing, but I knew in my head through prayer to God and just the way I wanted to do my life. I used to have an apartment in Manchester with my wife and kids. So I just say, you know what, as an instinct, because my life is all about instinct. It's more intellectual instinct than strategical instinct. I just thought, let's see what it does, but I'm sure something will happen. And at the end of my football career in Red Star, the chairman and me, we got along so well in a creative way that I told him I want to be the creative director of the club because I had one more year of contract as a football player. I just said, let's break it. Let's turn me into the creative director like it would be a magazine. And that's what I did. I started to bring photography, food, music in a way that mixed with football and trying to create bridge with culture in a way that media like Vice, you know Vice, it's a media, very famous media. Yeah. They contacted us and then they became our sponsor because they loved the vibe that we started to create. So they became the sponsor, and then Adidas was our sponsor of Red Star. And they liked what we do, so we started to reconnect with football in a very unique way that no football club does. From that, I just thought, wow, it's cool. So I'm gonna do my creative agency in the big company of my chairman. So it's the best of both worlds. He ran the club, he ran a company, creative agency, belonged to his big company. So right now I have other client, Girondin Bordeaux, which was my last big football club. They contacted me and I do the same there. I'm also the creative director and stylist of Tiemoué Bakayoko that play in Chelsea.
I was literally just going to mention him as well. You're a stylist.
I founded a magazine called Sport Etudes. It's like a sports and culture magazine. My very first company, they were an English company run by a girl called Jessica Bradbury, an English girl that contacted me because they needed to do some casting for the Off-White Nike collaboration for the Mbappe football boots at the time. So I was just there. I'm just saying, okay, I love to do that. So it was really cool because my first money deal out of football was this. So just to speak about your question, when you know that a lot of football, what they want to do is to stay manager or commentator. I have been a channel media told me to do this because I'm okay with speaking as an interview. I said, I'm not interested in this. I want to do fashion, music, design. And then when I did this, I said, well, that's where I fit good. So I recruit a woman that is my associate that used to be in a big fashion company called Jaloux Publishing that run a magazine called L'Officiel and Jalouse, which is similar to Vogue and GQ in France, where you have rain, we understand each other. And now we run a company where we did things for Nike, we did things for Adidas, we have done things for Etude Studio, for Drôle de Monsieur. We're doing a lot of different things right now. There's things that I cannot tell you obviously right now because it's still, we do a lot of things that looks like me. That's what I love, you know, it's just to style people. And our agency is a creative brand management agency. Yeah.
Okay.
David, you mentioned earlier that you decided to study the Bible in 2005, and I just wanted to ask you, how did that come about, and how has it helped you in your life to this day, so that you continue studying?
Yeah, I signed my contract with Manchester United, which was like my obsession and my dream. The day I signed the contract at Manchester, I went back to when I signed, I went back, we kind of celebrated it in a bar, like in a restaurant bar in Manchester called Living Room, in a very quiet way. We just had a meal and a little drink. When I went to the hotel, I could see that it didn't fulfill me. I was happy, but it didn't fulfill me in my existential question, you know? Do you say existential question? You know, like, okay, I achieved my dream really young, being in Manchester, now what? And I wasn't fulfilled. So from the day there, I did my very first year in Manchester, young and wild, but playing, but I knew that it didn't fulfill me. So I started to study in 2005 around May. And then as soon as I really read it and kind of understood it, I mean, my outlook of life was completely different. I mean, for me, it's a perfect book for a different way. In a very philosophical way, you have like some chapter in the Bible, especially one called Ecclesiastes, that was written by the King Solomon, that we call him Suleiman in Islam, Solomon in the Christian way. And then I don't know, I just thought in a way, it's just speaking about the human history. It's speaking about the way we can interact with people with love. I just like justice so much that I think justice was the best things that get me there. The prophecy. It's a book that you're trying to pray and trying to get your life close to what the Bible say. I guess regarding to your moral aspect of life, even if you made a lot of mistake in life, because I did a lot of mistake, even when I was studying, but the more you grow, the more you're feeling at peace with yourself about what's going on in life. I mean, today we're in 2000, everywhere, global warming, social problem, financial problem. And when you look at what the Bible say, it doesn't scare me about why the world is like that anymore. And then I know that when I started to really get touched by the Bible in 2005, what the world was doing, it was not scaring me. I'm not scared. And that's why when I gave up my career in Bordeaux, I gave up a lot of money that more scare me. I like what the Bible says about some people like Moses, Joseph, the Apostle Paul, Solomon. I don't know. I have an outlook of life when I just say I used to be kind of not poor, but yeah, no, not money. I had a lot of money. I don't have so much money anymore now. And then I'm free in my heart because of what the Bible says. And I believe that even for people that my Senegalese family is Muslim, and I have a lot of Muslim friends. My best man was Muslim. I grew up with Muslim. I think when you have some religious value where you're trying to cling to it, very well. You have sometimes moral laws that, I think it's good for the moral laws, it's good for forgiveness, for kindness, for being honest. Yeah, we're all imperfect, but when you make a mistake, it's really also important to say sorry. Even if sometimes you did nothing wrong, it's still nice to say sorry to someone that even did something bad to you, just to keep the peace or to forgive. There's something about the Christian way that I really love, because you go against sometimes your emotion and you're just trying to put the thought of the Christ first, which is super difficult. But when you do it, you find yourself at peace. So that's why I gave up football in a very high level, because I never find myself at peace with it. As much money I had, I felt like I was in a golden cage, having money and never feel free to study the Bible in the way I wanted.
Yeah. David, I know I'm going off that topic a bit, but I was intrigued about something I read on you. You were into athletics when you were younger. I think you won 60 meters in a national indoor youth championship, and also you were known to be a pacey striker. So do you think that athletics paid off on the football pitch?
So where I was really good, I was good in sprint. I was really good in high jump. I used to have for my height, it was 2 meters. I had a lot of spring, and I used to do a lot of high jump. I don't know if it's athlete. I mean, yes, I guess when I was kid, I was more obsessed about watching track and field tournaments. It was just my generation, and of course, my hero. Everything mixed is Michael Jordan. It was, for me, you can bring an actor, you can bring Pelé. That Pelé is my hero of football. But Michael Jordan, for me, is just like the athlete, stylish, good-looking, pop culture, whatever. I mean, and then I was more inspiring by them to be good in football pitch, if you understand what I mean. It could be more of an artist, a musician, a basketball player, or Carl Lewis. That if he was football, it was Pelé or Johan Cruyff or George Weah, but or some other player, Ronaldo, and field. And I used to imitate Carl Lewis, which was a great athlete at the time, and he used to run like this with his hand like this. And when I was in the football pitch, if you see me, I used to run like this. I was not running like this, but I used to love his run. So I used to have a run that was like very high jump, like kind of like a track and field run. So that track and field, I used to love to do sprint. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're quite flexible as well, because I remember watching a celebration of yours. I think during the actual Tottenham game when he scored the 3rd goal and he done a cartwheel celebration.
I know that my very first goal, I did a somersault.
Yeah.
With Sunderland against Aston Villa. Yeah. Because when I was young, like in Cannes and Paris, acrobat. Do you say acrobat?
Acrobats, yeah.
I used to climb everywhere, doing somersault, backflip and all stuff. I used to love to do all that. Yeah. But I cannot do that anymore. But at the time, I used to like to be hanging around everywhere. The more it was high, the more I could jump very high. I used to love to do all that. Yeah, I was very reckless kid. Like to not fight. I didn't like to fight. I present myself, the things I was doing, like truth or dare. I was always doing the more dangerous things. But now I cannot do that anymore.
It's just such a shame it had to be against my beloved team, Spurs.
I scored against Spurs once, but I don't remember what I did. With Manchester, I scored. I don't remember what I did. Yeah. It was a windy game. I remember.
I think you shrugged off Ledley King and then just placed it into the bottom corner.
Yeah, but I don't remember how I celebrate, because I celebrate good when I score. I didn't know. It was just my first goal. I was so happy. I did the somersault out of adrenaline.
I mean, did you play your whole career as a striker?
No. When I was, like I said, when I was a player at the beginning, it was very difficult for coaches to get me on the position. I didn't like to play striker. I used to like to play like Ribéry, Djorkaeff, Ben Arfa. You know Ben Arfa, Ribéry, Djorkaeff. And when I arrived in Manchester, I was either on the right wing, left wing sometimes, striker. And I think that was something very difficult with me. I was very versatile. So I had competition everywhere with great players. You know, I was not a solid striker or solid right midfield. You know, I was not like one attacking as a forward, attacking striker, attacking player. Yeah.
Yeah. While I was doing some research on you as well, David, I was like looking on social media, but I couldn't like manage to find an account of yours. Is there like a specific reason as to why you're not on social media on the likes of Twitter or Instagram?
I am. I will giving you now because I remember when we were in Bordeaux, they wanted to do Twitter account for every player, but like legalize it, you know, with like the blue official things, and I said no. And then when I went on Instagram, I was on Instagram at the very, very beginning of Instagram. I was in private already because I love to be in private. I don't want to have people that I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that. It's not me. And then at some point I made a mistake. I looked at a button and somehow I put myself in public. And then it was like a year ago. And then in 10 minutes, I had like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 demands of people I don't know. So I just put back in private, and I had to delete everyone that I didn't know. I feel very, very private about my life. I don't want to. I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like it. And I think as being Christian, I'm very, very careful about social media because if I know I know who I click, I know who I approve for my life. I totally understand that some people is public, no problem, but I like my private life to stay private. And then whatever I post on my social media, it's for the people I know. That's it. Yeah, I do not have it for some technical reason. I have it. I have a Twitter account. I absolutely don't understand really how it works. And I like to watch Twitter more for the memes, like the funny things, the memes. I love that. All the trolling game, like the memes and trolls. That's why I love when it's funny. But no, I'm not interested in social network. I love Instagram because now we can speak to each other very quick. You know, you don't have to sometimes WhatsApp. You can send some links. I'm old school, you know, so yeah.
Obviously, looking back on your career, David, it has been like a successful one. Obviously, it started off as like quite difficult for you. Obviously, a big step up from France to English football. But obviously, I want to give you a quick mention about your honours. Obviously, you won the Community Shield at Man United. You won Liga A at Bordeaux. You've got like 5 trophies in your cabinet. And also, you did win the Play of the Month award in August 2007. So looking back, like, what like stands out for you?
It brings back to one of your questions before. I do not really recall the time on the football pitch. It's kind of blurry. Sometimes when I just see that I was on a football pitch, I really don't remember it. I remember more of the dress every day. I think that was the best things I have because, you know, to be frank, all the trophy, I don't know where they are today. I know that they're not in my apartment, so must be somewhere at my mom's. I really lose a lot of things anyway. I think what stands out is that I stay true to myself. This is the most important. I stay true to myself. I still have the same mentality when I was a child about the way I view football. Sad as a professional football player. I was not someone that was really, how do you say in English? Fulfilled. It didn't fulfill me like the street football fulfilled me, despite the fact that I did beautiful things. I just didn't feel so much free. So I think what I like the most is the relationship with my teammates, good and bad. That's what I remember the most. the relationship with the people that work for the club, security people, the people that was at the canteen, supporters sometimes that was waiting for an autograph. I could stay an hour with someone, just discuss. I could stay an hour and be late at home because I just like to know people. I think that's what I like the most is the discussion I have to people. The things we love the most is after the training when you go to the physio room for massage, everybody laugh, everybody speak. That's what I like the most, really. It's weird to say that, but it's not the victory. All the championship, the winning trophy, in my deep soul, deep my heart, I'm not like, oh, I won that. No, the best trophy that I really was so happy to win, it's strange. It's my last season of Red Star when we won the league from third division French football to get promoted to second. Yeah. Because that was one of the best time of my life as a professional, because I just said to the coach and the chairman, look, I need time for my Christian private life. I have things to do. And they knew. And then second, I used to come back. I came back to Paris. I had an apartment in the city center of Paris. I bought myself a scooter. I used to train from 10 a.m. to 12. And in the afternoon after that, I was free in Paris. I think this is the best balance of my life. It's just like a sense of freedom, coming to football. And what I love the best about that life is that all the mind of the players that were there was also kind of like amateur, because they were not like top level football players. You know, they didn't have so much money, so they still learn the struggle of life. Sometimes they used to say, oh, I need to be in that apartment, find an apartment that costs like 800 euro per month. And I love this kind of discussion because it brought me back to the normal life where people had to save money, trying to be smart, and then we're fighting to know how much was the win bonus when we win a game. It could be like 150 euro or 200 euro per game. And people were so happy. And sometime in a professional football, you could have like a 5,000 euro winning game or draw. And everybody were sometimes like, oh, we could have had more. And I just love the fact that when I came to that game, it reminded me my before being professional. It reminded me when I was a kid with my mom that I had to do extra hours on a Saturday to trying to pay the bill. But I didn't really understand because I was a kid. But not saying that I love the struggle, but I think trying to shape your mentality. I think it's in this imperfect world, you know, when everything is too easy, you have to be careful. I think when it's too easy, I think the devil is not so far away. That's the way I view it. So, you know, that's what I stands out. I think that dropped when I was really quite young yet. I was 30 or 31 when I said to my wife and kids and the chairman of Bordeaux, I want to give up. I want to do something else. It was very hardcore for people around me, my family first. But I love that. I like challenge, and I just think that's what I stands out is the last years, and I love to play with small clubs as well, like Nice, Red Stars, West Ham and Sunderland are small, but like Manchester United was beautiful because I played with great players. It was a dream come true. So okay, but I like the small team, kind of like a bit rough. Like the stadium's a bit broken, you know. I just like this vibe because it brings me like a vibes of like youth vibes where you go to a ghetto city, ghetto club where, you know, it's kind of rough. I kind of like that. It reminds me of the street, so I like that. It's beautiful memories. And also playing in Turkey. You know what? I have one thing that was a good memory is that I've got the quickest goal in Europe history in UEFA. I scored against Galatasaray in 10 seconds. So what I remind is like the Turkish atmosphere. We play in Fenerbahce and then in Galatasaray. Wow, the Turkish atmosphere is like was playing Fenerbahce when he was like 18 years ago or almost. and beautiful, talented Brazilian player like Alex. He was so skillful. Yeah. And then they had like a tifo, like the flag of the supporters, like 50 meters, with written "Welcome to Hell," yellow and red.
I remember. Yeah,
it was just like crazy, and I like the Turkish atmosphere. That was really crazy atmosphere.
Fans are really passionate. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I score in Turkey. I score against the two Turkish clubs. I score against Fenerbahce, against Rustu in Manchester. That was the day where Wayne Rooney did his first.
Scored a hat trick. Yeah.
Free kick. I was supposed to kick the free kick that he scored, because I was the one, when I was on the pitch, I was kicking the free kick. Alex Ferguson wanted me to kick it because I was good in free kick. And then Wayne told me, "Can you let me?" And then he was on fire. I said, "Yeah, sure." It was just, sure. I'm very nice. I say, "Go." And, he scored the free kick, and I scored the last goal against Rustu. I loved Rustu. It was hardcore. He had like some painting there, like warrior and stuff. So
You mentioned about like how you really enjoyed like the smaller teams and like for grassroots. What would you say to like younger kids that have aspirations of trying to make it professional? What would you say to them to focus on?
It depends of the way, why they want to be professional. It's very difficult because my way of wanting to be professional is really a strange way. It's a weird way. It was not about being one day I want to win this and I want Alex Ferguson. I love Cantona. I think I want to play for United. So I don't know. I mean, all I know is that you have to play with your heart. You don't have to think about ambitious and money. Play with your heart. Play like a fearful football. Practice in the street because it makes you different, I think. Do not be very worried sometimes about being formatted, how do you say? And sometimes I think academy football make you in some very strange condition. It's not called brainwash, but sometimes information, it's like mathematic football. They say you have to do this, you have to do that. I think inspirational football, instinctive football, it's very, very precious for very good player. You have to have a part of mind that is really freestyle. You have to feel the game sometimes. You just have to feel it, not being like the good student that learn his homework all the time, heart by heart. I do not believe in this.
Yeah.
Freestyle. You have to be freestyle sometimes. Like the most beautiful things that kids like when they watch a football game, or the most beautiful thing that we see when we are in awe when there's a beautiful action, most of the time it's freestyle or instinct. It's instinct. And when we see like beautiful skills or beautiful games, most of the time it's instinct. Let's see, for example, like Wayne Rooney that does a overhead kick against Manchester City. Look at Trent Alexander-Arnold that does like a quick corner kick for the Belgian player in semi-final.
Divock
Origi.
When you look at the game against Tottenham and Ajax Amsterdam and Tottenham and Manchester City, like 3 years ago, for me, it was the best game of the last 20 years. Time of Guardiola, I think this game it looks like you were in a video game, like arcade game. I mean, for everybody, I think that sums up the love of football. The stress, the craziness, the referee. I think there's very good foundation football about all the players there. After it was all about brave heart, love, instinct, where everywhere went mad and all the supporters loved it. I think this is the beauty of football. And I think you need to stay in this mind to trying to be a professional. If you're trying to be following too much the orders, you need to at some point disagree with the order of things in football. I think you need to disagree, not saying it out loud, but on the pitch, you need to just disagree and make it or break it, try, doesn't work. But if you just doesn't stand out and you do your normal things, either you are hard worker and you're going to succeed one day, even if you don't have the skills, But if you want to make it, you need to do something different. You need to try something crazy. Yeah, that's the way I view my foot. That's the way I view football. Yeah.
Do you think English football's like developed or changed like since your playing days?
And do you
Yeah, for me, the English mentality of football is the best in the world. That's my opinion. The most technical, it's Spain. The one that is kind of global football, I guess Germany. It's crazy. It's the German people love football, but it's really kind of like physical, robotic football. The best football is England for me. Yeah, and I think since there's a lot of European coach, European players, Brazilian players, he made the league. 20 years ago, it was not as technical as now. Now you have the best crowd, best of everything is the best league. There's England, then Spain. I'm not saying Spain is so exciting, but it's technical player. Players are really skillful. France, I played 10 years, is to be honest, it's a league that is very tactical, but the players of France are high value for the great team. They go to great team. The formation, the academy is like one of the best in the world. But it's more like very strategic. Everything has to be thought. Best football for the fans, best football for players, best sensation, best emotion. English football.
Premier League football.
No, there's no even a debate about it. No debate.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of obviously English football, I want to ask you a bit about obviously the national sides. First, a bit on England. Like, where do you see the English side like progressing? And then I want you to like lead it up with the French national side and maybe talk about the likes of Mbappe and Paul Pogba.
I do not know. I do not have a TV at home. I have a computer. So I watch football at all, so I don't really know who is the English players now. I know Jordan Sancho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold. And there's a young kid in Dortmund that I follow more because he's got a good style, kind of a
Jude Bellingham.
He's Bellion, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's got a good style. And me, when I look at football, it's more like the face, the style. I'm just saying, I think this can be cool for a photo shoot. And now how good they are, I don't really know, to be honest. I know that Jordan Sancho is a genius. I know I like the way he played with Dortmund. I cannot tell you more. I'm sorry about England. I don't know. I don't know so much. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't really know.
And what about the French team? The likes of Mbappe?
Well, Mbappe is a one of a kind. I will just say that the coach, the head, is a great coach for winning games. But I like football coaches that like playing great football. I just think when you look at the World Cup, the way we won it, because I'm not so much of a fan of like, oh, it doesn't matter if we played bad, we won the World Cup. That's not my mentality. I like to watch teams that play great football. Like Belgium in the World Cup, they play cool football. We won France against Belgium. So to be honest, I think the French football style could be better when you look at the football players that we have. I just think the culture of French football is that we have a great coach as a match winner. He's a winner. He's strategic. He doesn't care if we play well or bad. He can play defense. If we won 1-0, he's solid. That's why he wins a lot. That's not my vibe. When I look at Ousmane Dembélé, I love this player. I mean, he can be injured or not. I mean, he's so skillful. When you look at Mbappe, of course. When you look at N'Golo Kante on his playing, he's such a great player to see. Pogba, sometimes when he's very fit, he's doing very good, skillful. But we could play an amazing football. I don't think France playing an amazing football, to be honest. And I think even the players, they are top quality players. I am sure compared to the skills they have, they could play even better football.
Yeah.
Compared to the skills that they have, when you look at Coman, you look at Dembele, you look at Mbappe, you look at, I don't know, the players.
Pogba,
I don't know. I don't really
Martial.
know. Who?
Anthony Martial, Pogba.
Yeah, you see them, you just say, wow, they could even do like some more like tiki-taka football like Barcelona. They have like great skills and stuff. But playing like that, French football, it's never been like quality footballer. 1998 with Zidane, 2002 is fantastic, you know. On few games, you think, wow, we have a team that are unbelievable. But compared to the quality, you just think we could even play higher, but we just have a French version, French culture way of winning games.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you still like keep in contact with any like former teammates from back in the day, or because obviously you were saying that you live like a private life, so is that still the case, or do you still like meet up with like friends? And
I'm fine to see them if we have to, because sometimes I'm invited to an old stadium, like old club, like in Bordeaux. Sometimes we invited, we meet. I'm happy, you know. But even when I was as a football player, I do not look for having my relationship with football players. I have way more friends in art and fashion.
yeah,
it was because I know that the discussion sometimes it's not what I look for, but I mean I do not saying that as a snob. Don't worry, I don't look up at them like, oh, I don't want to discuss with them. But in my everyday life, I rarely see them. Rarely.
Yeah.
Very rare. It's maybe once a year or once every 4 or 5 years, and I'm happy. How are you? Things. What's happening? But I'm too much in my creative emotion. Yes. I was a weirdo. I was quite of a weirdo as a football player, even in the team. So, yeah.
Yeah. David, thank you so much. Honestly, we can talk for hours and hours. Hopefully, we can maybe even visit you in Paris one day and do this like face to face when the pandemic's over. But yeah, honestly, we appreciate your time.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, thank you for coming on Stay in Place. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to Jojo as per usual. Thank you to everyone for watching. Please do the usual. Please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share. We're out.
I'm wearing my jacket, but boss, I'm still too cold. Man, I fucked your bitch, she filled that from her head to toes. I need this guap.